Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Lead Her podcast. I feel like I can proper chill out now. The first episode is out there, first episode is done. I just put a lot of pressure on myself for that first episode because I thought if it's absolute mince, no one's going to come back for episode 2. But like I said last week, we need to just get started and we'll get perfect as we go on. And the only way I'm going to keep improving with doing these conversations is by getting them done. But yeah, just getting that first one out of the way, I feel like I can relax now and I can just be more me and just see where this goes. So like I mentioned last week, we are going to give you a challenge this week, and this is a challenge that I did with my coach Jen last year. And we'll probably mention Jen a few times. She's been a huge part into me finding Lead Her and unlocking that and finding what it was within that I was hiding away. She's been the person that's been really, really key to bringing this out of me a little bit quicker than I was doing it myself. So Jen gave me this challenge last year, and I've actually done it with some of our Lead Her members, and they've found it absolutely awesome as well. So I thought this is something that we need to share with you guys, and I really want you to do it. I want you to try it out. It is Monday this podcast comes out, so by next Monday I want you to have done it. And it might be one that you want to do at the weekend with a little glass of wine, but at least to know that you've got the full week to do it. And like I said, if you can Instagram me or email me, I'd love to hear if you've done it and the results that you've got from it, and if it helped you or if it didn't help you. That's okay, because that's feedback from me, again, for me to understand if we're connecting here and if we're really kind of getting the topics and the stuff that you guys need to really unlock your own potential as well. So with Jen, just to give you a bit of a background, like with last year when I was lost and when I was stuck, and where that was coming from was a really long-term belief that I had from a very young child. So we came from quite a poor neighbourhood, and you did not want to stand out. You did not want to do well for yourself. You did not want to shout your achievements from the rooftop. So I've spent a long time, and it actually made me feel quite sad when I noticed this. When me and Jen kind of brought it to light, was that I've spent so much of my life downplaying my achievements and whenever like people would tell me how I've helped them within the coaching program, how even though I know I've took women from a really low place to an amazing place, I didn't feel that it was me that did it. I totally disassociated that it was my achievement too. And that's a great thing, and it is full credit to our members because they do the work, but I'm just here as a guide and I'm just helping them along and supporting them along the way. But I need to give myself credit. You do need to have credit, and you do need to get purpose from what you do. It does need to make you feel good. And I always used to really struggle with reading good feedback. And that's not a good thing. And I knew I did do it. I know I didn't. I just kept putting it off, addressing it. And when you do that for so long, like I said last week, that's why you do eventually start to lose yourself. And you don't know why you feel lost, and you don't know why you feel stuck, and you don't know what's wrong, but you just know there's something that's not right. And it was because I disassociated myself and wasn't giving myself any credit, and I wasn't believing that I was actually doing that. I was just like, yeah, you've done it, amazing, well done. But I wasn't going, well done, Leanne, too. You've helped that person change their life. And you might think that's absolutely crazy, but that was just a belief that I had when I was younger, because if you did do well, you'd maybe get your window smashed. If you did do well, people would hate you. People wouldn't like you. You would get bullied. So for me, it's always been like, be small, be quiet. And again, relates to last week with me saying I didn't have a lot of friends. It was like, I just didn't want any controversy. I just wanted to be left alone and hide away. So I'm really surprised that we've made it this far within business with those kind of mindsets. But when Jen really helped me realise that, we did some work within me to start really recognising what I do. But this was one challenge she gave me that actually helped me see that I am so much more than I realise, and that my achievements are a lot more than I realise. And I thought this was a great starting point. So I thought we'll share this today. You can give it a go and then let me know how you get on. So the challenge is for you to speak to a friend, a family member, your partner, or a colleague at work and ask them how they feel connected to you. So the way I did this was Jen gave me the target to do it with some of our members. And we had a meet up, so she was like, perfect, that's a great time for you to understand how you do help people and how you make them feel and that you do have this impact. But the way the event went, I didn't feel right to ask about me because of my issues. So we didn't really get round to it. And it was maybe just a wee bit too out of my comfort zone. But we were also really busy. We had a lot of stuff going on. We were doing a workout, and then we were going to do hot yoga. So there wasn't really that opportunity to sit down and really have a chat with this. So I felt a wee bit disappointed in myself, because I am someone, when you give me a task, I'm going to bloody do it and I'm going to give it my all. So it's a wee bit like, oh, damn it, I've not really done it today. And I'm speaking to Jen next week, and I really want to say that I've done it, and I want to lean into this because I know this is going to help me. So when I got home, I sat down and I was like, do you know what? I could just do it with Joe. And I was a bit nervous. I was like, oh God, what's he going to say? Because in my head, again, I felt, because I was struggling and I was always bringing it up with Joe, and I was always like, oh, I just don't feel like this is going anywhere, I just feel stuck. And he would always be trying to give me help, but it was never really working, and it would maybe end up with me upset, or end up like with us kind of getting frustrated and annoyed with each other. So I kind of felt, before I was going to ask Joe this, that he would maybe say, oh, you're really moany, you're really negative, you're really frustrating. And you know yourself as well, like, we are always nagging at them to do the washing, or to pick up their shoes, or their flip-flops that are left at the back door. We're always telling them stuff that they need to do. So I was a wee bit like, oh God, what's he going to say? But before I asked him, I sat and wrote like mine, what I would say he does for me, and how connected, why I feel connected to him is the question. So I was thinking, right, okay, I feel connected to Joe because he's so positive, he's so strong, he's so motivating, he's so intelligent, he's a beautiful person inside and out, he's very handsome, obviously, and he's just so loving and so caring and so thoughtful, like, so many amazing positive things. That's how I feel connected to him. And I was honestly so shocked with what he said, because a lot of it was the same. And he also said some of those, like, it was like, you're really, really positive, you really motivate me, you give me lots of ideas, you inspire me. I don't know if I mentioned, positive, and you give him energy, but he also said I give him safety. It makes him feel safe when he's with me. And I was like, what? Like, how do I make you feel safe? Like, I'm not going to fight someone off for you. But it's about safety in different ways, where you feel you can trust someone and you can speak to someone about anything and you know they're going to be there. So yeah, it was a real eye-opener for me that I'm just not moany, and I'm not negative, and I'm not draining them, because that's what I was telling myself all the time. And again, you can see how you can lose confidence in yourself when you feel you're being negative, or you're annoying people by asking for help, or you're being a moan. And this is a really good thing to do, and this is what we did with one of our lead her members. Is we said she was having a tough time at work, and it was really challenging for her, and she was feeling a bit down and a wee bit low in confidence. And then we said to try this with some of her friends, some of her family, our partner. And what they said really gave her her power back and really made her feel good, and actually realised how awesome she really was. And that's what it was for me as well. I was just like, God, like, I do so much. Like, I felt amazing. But if I didn't ask that question, I would maybe dig myself into a dark hole, never feeling good enough for Joe, when I was everything and more that he needed, by asking that question. So I know it's a little bit scary and you'll be a little bit nervous, and trust me, you're probably going to get bum jokes, because Joe's first response was your butt, obviously, and then he was laughing, he's like, no, I'll do it seriously now. So yeah, of course, we're maybe going to get a butt joke in there, but please know that this is going to be a real eye-opener into really knowing how amazing you are, and how much you help people, and how much you inspire people, and you do so much more than you realise. And that's a real step into knowing that and understanding that, and even just write it all down. But I just remember sitting there with Joe and going, oh wow, I needed to hear that. And a part of him felt bad, because he's like, how do you not know that I see you that way? And it's not him in any way, it was my issue. It was my issue, that's what I was just telling myself. And when you tell yourself negative things all the time, you start to believe it, and you don't see all the good that you do. So write down what they tell you, even if it's silly. And it's always a nice thing to come back to when you are struggling, or you are having a tough day. And another way you can do this as well is that, even if you feel a bit strange to say, how do you feel connected to me? If that feels weird, you could kind of say to someone, right, okay, if I was to write a book, what would you maybe name it? what would you say that book should be named? Because that can be another good way for people to be like, oh, I'd maybe call it glamorous or intelligence or empowered or driven. Like, you might get really, really cool words that come up, because that question kind of says like how people perceive you as a person. If you were to write a book about yourself, what they would name it gives you the key highlight into one of your huge benefits or one of your huge qualities that you have. So that can be another way to ask it. But I think the best way is to ask people how they feel connected to you, how they feel when they hang out with you, how people feel when they leave your side, because that's where we really want to know how good we are. Yeah, so please give it a go. Like I said, you've got a full week to try it out. But if you do, email me, message me on Instagram. Doesn't need to be public, just in private. Let me know how it goes, and I'm hoping it gives you a huge boost in confidence and a real eye-opener into how amazing you are when you do get the opportunity to do it. Okay, so good luck, and I shall catch up with you next week.